Once upon a time in the village of Ekedu, there lived a hunter named Mr. Adaka. He was a very cheeky man who liked to take things that didn't belong to him. One sunny day, while the villagers were busy working in their farms, Mr. Adaka sneaked into Ebuka's farm and started harvesting yams without permission. Little Ebuka, who was playing nearby, saw Mr. Adaka stealing the yams. He quickly ran to tell the king about the wicked hunter's actions. The king, upon hearing the news, became very upset and decided to teach Mr. Adaka a lesson. The king sent for Mr. Adaka, and when he arrived, he was immediately arrested by the village police. They took him to jail as punishment for his wickedness. Everyone in the village heard about what happened to Mr. Adaka, and they were all relieved that someone had finally stopped his stealing ways. From that day on, no one dared to steal from others in the village because they knew the consequences. The villagers lived peacefully, knowing that justice had been served. However, even though Mr. Adaka was in jail, his cheeky ways didn't end there. While he was locked up, he started plotting how to escape and continue his thieving ways. One night, when the moon was bright, Mr. Adaka managed to break out of jail and disappear into the darkness. The villagers were shocked to hear that Mr. Adaka had escaped. They knew they had to be extra careful to protect their farms and belongings. The king was also worried and decided to call for a meeting with the villagers to come up with a plan to catch Mr. Adaka once and for all. During the meeting, they decided to set traps around the village to catch Mr. Adaka if he tried to steal again. They also appointed guards to keep watch day and night. The villagers worked together as a team to protect their community from the cheekiness of Mr. Adaka. Now, let's pause here. What do you think will happen next in the story? Now, what do you think about Mr. Adaka's attitude? Drop your comments, please. As the villagers prepared their traps and set up guards, Mr. Adaka was hiding in the nearby forest, planning his next move. He was determined to outsmart the villagers and continue his thieving ways. One dark night, when the guards were least expecting it, Mr. Adaka crept back into the village. He thought he was being very clever, but what he didn't know was that the villagers were ready for him. As he tried to sneak into a farm to steal yams again, he stepped into one of the traps set by the villagers. The trap snapped shut, catching Mr. Adaka by surprise. He struggled to free himself but couldn't escape. The guards, alerted by the noise, quickly rushed to the scene. They found Mr. Adaka caught in the trap, trying desperately to break free. The villagers gathered around, relieved that they had finally caught the cheeky thief. The king, who was informed of Mr. Adaka's capture, came to see for himself. He was glad that their plan had worked, and he praised the villagers for their unity and determination to protect their community. Mr. Adaka was taken back to jail, but this time the villagers made sure the jail was extra secure. They knew they couldn't let him escape again and cause trouble in their peaceful village. From then on, the villagers lived without fear of Mr. Adaka's cheekiness. They continued to work hard in their farms and enjoyed the fruits of their labor without worrying about thieves like him. And so the village of Ekedu prospered, not just because of their fertile land, but also because of the unity and resilience of its people against wickedness and cheekiness. As time passed, the village of Ekedu flourished under the watchful eyes of the vigilant villagers. With Mr. Adaka securely locked away, there was a newfound sense of peace and security in the community. The villagers continued to work together, sharing their harvests and helping each other whenever needed. They built stronger bonds and became even closer as a community. One day, a wise elder in the village gathered the children around to tell them the story of Mr. Adaka and the upshot of his cheekiness. The elder emphasized the importance of honesty, hard work, and looking out for one another. The children listened intently, learning valuable lessons from the folk tale. They understood that being cheeky or wicked, like Mr. Adaka, only led to trouble and unhappiness. Instead, they vowed to always be kind, honest, and respectful to others. As the years went by, the story of Mr. Adaka became a cautionary tale passed down from generation to generation. The village of Ekedu thrived not just because of its fertile land, but also because of the values and principles instilled in its people. And so, the legacy of Mr. Adaka's cheekiness served as a reminder to the villagers to always choose kindness, honesty, and unity, ensuring a harmonious and prosperous future for generations to come. As the story of Mr. Adaka's cheekiness spread throughout neighboring villages, people from far and wide came to learn from the lessons of Ekedu. They admired how the villagers stood together against wickedness and how they built a strong, united community. The king of a nearby kingdom, upon hearing about the wisdom and unity of Ekedu, decided to visit the village himself. He wanted to meet the villagers and learn from their experiences firsthand. When the king arrived in Ekedu, he was welcomed with open arms. The villagers shared their story with him, recounting the challenges they faced with Mr. Adaka and how they overcame them through unity and cooperation. Impressed by what he heard, the king praised the villagers for their resilience and wisdom. He even invited some of the village elders to his kingdom to share their knowledge with his own people. The exchange of ideas and values between Ekedu and the neighboring kingdom strengthened the bond between the two communities. They worked together on various projects, sharing resources and expertise for the mutual benefit of all. Years passed, and Ekedu became known not just for its fertile land, but also for its reputation as a beacon of unity and wisdom. People from far and wide looked up to the village as an example of how communities could thrive when they stood together against wickedness and embraced kindness and cooperation. And so the story of Mr. Adaka's cheekiness had a ripple effect, inspiring positive change and bringing people together in harmony and prosperity. The villagers of Ekedu continued to live by the values they had learned, ensuring a bright and hopeful future for generations to come. As the years went by, the village of Ekedu continued to prosper and grow in harmony. The lessons learned from Mr. Adaka's misdeeds were never forgotten, serving as a constant reminder of the importance of honesty, kindness, and unity. The children of Ekedu grew up hearing the stories of their ancestors and the trials they faced. They took these lessons to heart, becoming the next generation of leaders who upheld the values that had made their village strong. Under the guidance of wise elders, the young ones learned the skills of farming, hunting, and craftsmanship. They worked together to improve their village, building better homes, schools, and community centers. As Ekedu flourished, it became a hub of learning and innovation. People from other villages came to learn from the villagers' wisdom and expertise in agriculture, craftsmanship, and community building. The king of Ekedu, inspired by the progress and unity of his people, decided to establish a council of elders to advise him on matters of governance and justice. The council comprised respected individuals from different backgrounds, ensuring diverse perspectives and fair decision-making. With the council in place, disputes were resolved peacefully and justice was upheld in the village. The people of Ekedu lived in harmony, supporting each other through good times and bad. One day, as the sun set over the village, a gathering was held to celebrate the unity and progress of Ekedu. Villagers from all walks of life came together, sharing stories, laughter, and gratitude for their blessings. The king stood before the crowd, his heart filled with pride for his people. He spoke of the challenges they had faced, the lessons they had learned, and the bright future that awaited them. As we look back on our journey, the king said, "Let us remember that it was our unity, kindness, and resilience that brought us to where we are today. Let us continue to cherish these values and pass them on to future generations." The villagers cheered and applauded, their spirits lifted by the sense of community and purpose that bound them together. And so the village of Ekedu thrived not just because of its fertile land or abundant resources, but because of the strength of its people and the values they held dear. The legacy of Mr. Adaka's cheekiness had led to a brighter and more prosperous future for all